This is the Fujifilm X T30 Mark II, or the X T40 as I call it, which was released in 2021. And the topic of today's video is, when is the X T50 finally being released? And things I really like to see in the X T50. Yeah, on a recent poll here conducted on the channel, basically a lot of you here watching really are interested in the X T50, so this is what that episode is all about. Before we start, I'm Paul, I take photos. You can watch my work here on www.paultakesphotos.com, or otherwise go into the community tab and participate in the many polls I ask you, and also thank you very much for your participation. Well, the first thing that I really would like to see in this particular lineup for the X T10 until 50 is an improved grip, and with an improved grip that automatically leads to more real estate for the battery. I would really like to see a different type of battery than these. These are already the bit improved version, but I would really like to see a battery 400, 500 shots. What do you think? Yeah, I really would love to see that. That was always my biggest pet peeve. Obviously, with the release of the X-T5, what have we really seen? A big sensor and a great processor. With the release of the X-T20, we saw something that was older sensor, still X-T4 sensor like I'm recording on now, with a fantastic processor. And I really would hope that Fujifilm copies this in this little body, because I personally think the processing speed, big chips, really makes the camera future-proof. You can still get great image quality, but not at the expense of superbly many megapixels. And I personally think that megapixels are not the important thing. And most of you in a recent poll here actually agree with me. And then there's something I'd really like to see, which I call hybrid functionalities, or call it additional functionalities. The first thing I would like to see, and this is what I find really a weakness in the X T30 Mark II, is this thing here. Yes, the microphone jack. Just put a 3.5mm microphone jack into it. That would make that camera a bit more hybrid and a lot more suitable for people who are photography centric like I am, but occasionally need video. They don't have to buy an additional body for that, like I have. That's the first one. The second part, which I would really love to see, is the screen. A flip up screen is great, but I'd really love to see a hybrid screen. One that flips on the horizontal and one that flips on the vertical. And yes, Sony has that, and that's something I'd really like to see. Once you put a headphone jack in, yeah, automatically people are going to use it more for video. So also things like the recording time to be half an hour or maybe even gone, F-log profiles, you name it. That would be great, wouldn't it? Those things I would really like to see included. Leave your comments below. One is some of the design things. What I really, I love this camera, but there's a few things that I really don't like. First of all, it's this, the placement of the Q button. This is really, to me, you often go over it. I wish they would place it somewhere else on the camera, somewhere here. Additionally, I'd love to see the joypad coming back, the famous joypad like I have on my X-T2. That gives me so much more customization options within the camera. And then there is the placement of some of these buttons, like for instance here, the FN button. It's really tiny, and with my sausage fingers that kind of becomes a problem. So I really would like to see a better designed button. Yeah, I know I'm nitpicking, right? Leave your comments below. And these two things here, yeah, they're great once you learn how to operate them, but their build quality is not the best. So I really would like to see these small little increases, and with the increased grip and better battery life, oh man, wouldn't you like that? I would. Next one, what I really would like Fuji to do, and that's not specifically for the X T50, but for all the cameras, these things can last for at least 5 years to maybe even 10 years, specifically when the processor is state of the art. What you can do then is offer paid firmware upgrades. So instead of stating, oh, I'll buy this X T30 Mark II and after 2 years I'll go for the X T50, hey, because it has new autofocusing system or more autofocusing points, additional film simulations onto it. Instead, I would like to see Fuji stating or committing to, hey, this is our X T50, we'll actually upgrade the crap out of it for the coming 7 years. And every firmware upgrade is one for security patching and stability, and you have a paid version where you can get some of the additional features into. And specifically, when you look at cameras nowadays, how fast things are developing on the technical side, maybe not so much for photography, but still there's increased capabilities going on. I wouldn't mind paying $250 to actually upgrade firmware in a way that I could still keep this trusted machine with me. What do you think? Yeah. And with that, what I just mentioned, a big processor, paid firmware upgrades, what I'd really like to see, or maybe not like to see, is the situation around artificial intelligence. I see Sony now, but also on the XS20 there's increased volume. Sure, I can understand here a product mode, fantastic that you can keep it like this and it would focus here. Sure, I can understand those things, handy for video. For photography, I'm not so sure. But for the IA, yeah, with increased processing power, you could enhance cameras with artificial intelligence, but I'm a bit torn on it. Just as in the latest poll I had here on the channel, it's like, what do you do with all this IA? Does it kill photography or videography? Let me know in the comments below.